happens. And then we move to item 3, which is the continuation of the hearing of verbal submissions for the draft long-term plan 2021 to 2031. So starting this morning with Beth Rouse. Beth, are you here? Could I please call you to the table? Thank you. Okay, so you've got 5 minutes to present your submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Morena. I am Beth Rouse, and this is Murray James.
Morena.
And we are part of the Avebury House Community Trust, which has administered the Avebury House, wonderful piece of heritage on what used to be River Road. The River Road frontage running along the river corridor, or what the river corridor now adjoins. We appreciate this opportunity to present our submission on the council's LTR. And rather than go endlessly over the points we have here, I'm going to pass the baton to Murray James, who's just going to be quite specific about several of the points that we have included in our submission, and obviously hope that we can answer questions that you yourselves would have. Murray.
Kia ora koutou. Start with the Otakaro Avon River Corridor. It's been said many times before, so I won't go over it in too much detail, but we support the submissions of the many others, the Avon Otakaro Network, Food Resilience Network, and countless others who have said, let's bring that budget forward. It's an enormous asset for the community. We sit right on the border of the section of that runs through Richmond, and we know from connection with our community, with Avebury being a bit of a beacon and a hub in Richmond and wider, that there are many groups, many individuals out there who are itching to get in there and activate that space. We need council to lead the way by setting the groundwork with the stop banking and other infrastructure projects so that they can get going with confidence. In terms of heritage, Avebury House is obviously a beautiful piece of retained heritage in Christchurch. We absolutely, without doubt, support a targeted heritage rate. That is a fabulous addition to council policy, and something that can preserve not just the heritage fabric, but also the stories and the utility of heritage around the city. We consider ourselves lucky at the AHCT to have one of council's assets under our loving care, or kaitiaki. We would put our hand up immediately, and will do anyway, for a share of whatever is going in terms of heritage funding. Avebury House has not had an update to its heritage protection plan since the late 90s, early 2000s. It's 20 years old and well out of date. There are a lot of intrusive additions that have been made over the years that we would love to see removed and enhanced. We can also enhance amenity if we're given the budget to do so. The Trust has a broad range of ideas. We'd love to engage with council around making some of those reality. Finally, essentially around funding not-for-profit community organisations. Said this before, say it again. The funding model currently is enormously draining on the volunteer resources that have to apply regularly for funds to keep our staff employed. If we miss one or make an error and don't get it, it absolutely hammers our operating budgets. The model doesn't work. We'd like to see something different. We'd like to engage with council around how to fund community organisations that are effective, we think we are, more long-term and with more sustainability. There's a series of budget cuts around funding community organisations. We encourage you to have a relook at that, because you do get good bang for buck out of organisations like ours in their activities around the community. That'll do. Any questions?
All right, thank you. That leaves time maybe just for one question. Tim.
Thank you, and thank you very much for your presentation. With community groups like yourselves that have been more established and are very solid, would you prefer like a business type plan for funding? So it would be like a 3-year plus 2. So with your business plan, they're generally 3 years.
Yep.
So you wouldn't have to, but in that 3rd year, you reevaluate with the funder, and then you either have to reapply or you are actually on track and you can get another 2. Would that be the type of thing you'd be looking at?
Absolutely, yes. And from our perspective, we would like to be able to hold reserves so we're not always bouncing along the bottom of insolvency. Our social enterprise activity covers about 30% of our operating budget, and we're hard out on that. We've almost got full capacity at Avebury House.
Because as a funder, I mean, I think it's quite fair to ask what those reserves are and what the plan is for them, because that's just good management and it's to show good vision. So I don't have a problem with that at all, but it's some groups, as you can imagine, we've had that have huge reserves and there's no real point to them.
Yep,
So,
understand.
look, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much indeed. That brings us to the end of the time set aside for the submission. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So